Let's talk about the incredible financial story of Britney Spears. It's one of the biggest mysteries in pop music, really. It's a story about earning a mind-boggling amount of money, a controversial legal setup that controlled her life, and then a single nine-figure deal that changed absolutely everything.
I mean, this is the question at the heart of it all, right? How is it even possible to be one of the most successful artists on the planet, to generate hundreds of millions of dollars, and then, when you finally get your freedom back, to have just a fraction of it left? So where on earth did all that money go?
Okay, let's just look at the raw numbers here. On one side, you have her career earnings, somewhere north of $300 million. And on the other, her net worth when the conservatorship ended in 2021, about $60 million. That is a staggering gap. And that's exactly what we're going to dig into.
To really get this, you have to understand the system that was in place for 13 years. It wasn't just a simple legal thing. No, it was basically its own self-contained economy, an entire industry, all funded by Britney's work.
Just wrap your head around that for a second. For 13 years, every single dollar she made went into this legal entity, this estate. And from there, it was used to pay an army of lawyers, managers, security, and family members. It was a machine that just kept running, and Britney was the one powering the whole thing. So who was getting paid? Well, thanks to court filings and some great reporting, we have a pretty good idea. Her dad, Britney Spears, took home over $6 million. Her business managers, over $18 million. And just look at the legal fees. I mean, a jaw-dropping $30 to $36 million. When you start adding it all up, the known cost of just running the conservatorship was somewhere between $70 and $90 million bucks. Just gone. And on top of everything else, her father, Britney Spears, was paying himself a salary from her money. And that salary was $16,000 every single month. So how does that compare to what Britney herself got? Well, her allowance was roughly $8,000 a month. So yeah, let's just be clear. The man controlling her money was getting paid double what she, the person actually earning it all, was given to live on.
So, the conservatorship finally ends. You'd think things would get easier, but no. Some reports were even describing a cash crisis. And then, one single business deal comes along that completely resets her entire financial future. She sold her music catalog.
Okay, so what even is a music catalog? It's not the CDs or anything physical. Think of it like owning the deed to a gold mine. You own the right to collect all the future money that comes from her songs. Every stream on Spotify, every time a song is in a movie, it's an asset that just keeps paying out.
Now, it's really important to know what she was actually able to sell. See, Britney wasn't the main songwriter for big hits like Baby One More Time, so she didn't own the publishing rights. What she did own was the rights to the master recordings, the revenue that comes from her iconic voice on those specific tracks. That's the asset she turned into a huge payday.
So why was it worth $200 million? Well, the numbers are pretty wild. We're talking over 10 billion streams on Spotify alone. That brings in about $5 to $8 million a year like clockwork. Plus, she has this timeless cultural relevance. And with a biopic on the way, that value is only going to go up. The company that bought it wasn't just buying songs. They were buying a piece of pop culture history.
And the impact of this one deal? It was a total game changer. It took her financial situation from being kind of shaky to a place of serious, long-term security. So let's look at the before picture. In late 2025, her net worth was estimated as low as $40 million. After all those years of legal bills and massive expenses, there was talk of a real financial strain.
All right, you see that huge $200 million headline, but what does she actually put in the bank? Let's do the math. First, you've got to pay your lawyers and advisors. That's about $30 million off the top. Then, of course, Uncle Sam gets his cut, about $63 million. So when all the dust settles, her estimated take-home pay is a life-changing $107 million. So you add that giant check to what she already had, and her new estimated net worth just skyrockets to somewhere around $130 million. In one single move, she more than tripled her wealth, just like that.
But you know, this whole story, it's not really just about the money, not when you get down to it. The real prize, the ultimate payout after all those years, was something you can't even put a price on.
And this is it. This is the whole point. For the first time in over a decade, she made the decision. She chose to sell. She chose who to sell to. She chose when to do it.
For someone who couldn't even use her own phone without permission for years, this single act of financial control is the real victory here.
A source from our research material put it perfectly with this quote. For 13 years, a whole network of other people was profiting from her fame, her work, her legacy. With this one sale, she finally took back the power and said, "From now on, I profit from my own story."
And it all just leaves you with this one big question, doesn't it? When you look at her journey, a global icon, losing all control, and then finally fighting to reclaim her own financial destiny, a fight that cost tens of millions of dollars in 13 years of her life, it really makes you wonder, what is the true price of financial freedom?